You turn on your faucet and nothing, not even a drip. Unfortunately, that's when you realize that winter has declared war on your plumbing. I'm going to explain to you what causes frozen pipes, how your home's construction is playing a huge role, and what you can do to combat it. Go grab your thermos of hot cocoa and let's get into some chilly building science. What causes frozen pipes? First of all, let's talk about areas that aren't well insulated. Now, your pipes are going to run through areas like your basement, your crawl space, or your exterior walls. Now, if those areas have little to no insulation, that means your pipes are being exposed to elements and it's more likely that they're going to freeze. This is an issue for areas, especially exterior faucets. If there's no water moving through those pipes, and it's more likely that they're going to freeze. So if you have an outside faucet that you hook your hose up to, you're going to want to make sure that all of that is completely drained and shut off so there's no water just sitting stagnant in those pipes. Now, inside of your home, if you're hitting colder temperatures that are well below freezing, keep the water running at either a drip or a very slow stream. That makes it more difficult for the water to be able to freeze. Air leaks into your home around ventilation or around areas where holes were cut for wiring to be run, and even your foundation. All of that is going to contribute to colder air coming into contact with your pipes, which leads to frozen pipes and even burst pipes. Your home's construction plays a huge role in your pipes freezing. If the builder decided to run the pipes in an area that isn't usually heated, like the crawl space, they're obviously going to freeze a lot faster. Now, if there's no insulation around those pipes, that can also lead to them freezing faster. For example, there are little blankets that can be attached around the plumbing to make sure that they don't freeze. This is a good place where it would happen in the crawl space or even exterior walls because those areas tend to get colder faster. Building design plays a huge role in frozen pipes because if you have a home that has more exterior walls than the average home, maybe your home has less thermal mass, or it's an older construction, which means they use different methods. Either way, all of those contribute to your home not being able to stay as warm as it should during those cold winter months, which increases the chances of the pipes freezing. Poor construction practices piggybacks right off of that. Maybe some corners were cut, a few things were skipped, maybe they decided not to air seal around the pipes or add any kind of insulation at all around them and put them in places that don't have any kind of regular heating. All of that amounts to frozen pipes in the winter. Why do frozen pipes burst? I can't be the only person in the world who's left a bottle of water or a can of soda in the freezer for too long and it explodes, making a huge mess everywhere in the freezer. Let's get a little sciencey. That happens because when water or liquid freezes, it expands roughly about 9%, and that builds up a lot of pressure. Think about it in your pipes. They're not made to expand and retract given the amount of water or pressure in there. So if that water freezes and then starts to expand, then they're obviously going to burst. And this is going to happen no matter what they're made of. Your plumbing acts like the veins in your home. Insulation and air sealing, that acts as a nice, warm, cozy scarf and coat that you put on to keep those veins warm. Now, if your building envelope isn't sealed, that's allowing cold air to get inside and in places where it shouldn't be, where you should have insulation that's blocking that. Updating your insulation and creating an air seal keeps all of those cold temperatures out and keeps the warm temperatures in, which is going to take your plumbing out of the danger zone. So how do you prevent frozen pipes? First, you can insulate your pipes, and I don't mean like home insulation. You can get something similar to a foam sleeve that you can put over the pipes, or you can use heat tape to keep them warm so that they don't freeze. Anytime that you can seal air leaks in your home, that's going to be a win-win for you because it's going to make your home more comfortable, it's going to make it more energy efficient, but in this case, in areas like the rim joist, the crawl space, the basement, adding an air seal in those areas where your plumbing is running is going to protect them from the cold temperatures. Maintaining a consistent temperature in your home is also key to keeping those pipes protected. I understand that when you leave the house, the best practice is to lower the temperature just so that your heating bills aren't through the roof, but don't drastically lower the temperature in your home because if you do that, then you run the risk of your pipes being exposed to colder temperatures below the freezing mark. Now, if you're lucky enough for your pipes to run through your cabinetry, you can open up your cabinets to allow some of your interior warm air to get into those spaces to protect the pipes. If you're dealing with an extremely cold snap of weather, the best thing to do is to let your faucets run, not at full blast, just a drip or a slow trickle, because moving water is harder to freeze. Now, if you have an attached garage, and obviously that has a common wall, and if your plumbing runs through that wall, be sure to keep the garage door closed. Now, if it's open, all of that cold air is just rushing in through that big open space, and it's going to come in contact with the common wall, thus coming in contact with the plumbing. Keeping the garage door closed is going to keep all of that from happening. Even well-built homes can face extremely cold temperatures that's going to be challenging to the plumbing system. The goal isn't perfection, it's prevention. Making sure that your building envelope is sealed, that you're taking precaution if you live in a climate zone that deals with these extreme cold temperatures, and really just planning ahead, knowing what the winter is like where you live, that can really go a long way in protecting your plumbing. So as you can see, there are a lot of reasons why your plumbing could be freezing, and hopefully this video helped you figure out some ways to prevent it from happening again. Now, if you want to learn more cool things about what sealing your building envelope can do for your home, check out our Learning Center. There you're going to find tons of articles, resources, and videos to answer all of your questions. I'm your building science brainiac, reminding you to bring a little science to every project.